From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, we're forcing the football. We're talking about how pivotal the Alabama game is going to be, the differences between Tommy and DJ, and at what point can we hope to see a Florida State Seminole on an All-American preseason list. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Shake it, take it, sip the juice, everybody. Immune Plus Extra Strength. The Vitamin Energy potion in my hand right now, Corey Clark. Blue raspberry flavor. That's up on the Mount Rushmore of Vitamin Energy flavors. Hopefully, you found your favorites by now, everybody. Go to vitaminenergy.com. Check it out. Try the variety pack. If you're not quite sold on which one you think you want to amp up a certain portion of your day, your lifestyle, you'll find something that fits just right. Vitamin Energy. 260 milligrams, all natural caffeine. Nothing crazy. Nothing, no smoke and mirrors with this stuff. No sugar, no GMO nonsense. Just caffeine, vitamins, and nutrients. Get some. 2 fluid ounces in a shot. Take it wherever you go. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it and take it. Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. We got a new little tier going on here, Corey Clark. We've got a YouTube members only variety of this great sort of endeavor that we do over at Warchant.com. So if you don't feel like making the annual commitment to us to read all the awesome stuff we have over at warchant.com, I still don't get it. I really don't. But we've got a members-only YouTube going on now where you get like special emojis. You'll get a little Warchant logo next to your name so everybody knows you're highfalutin. You're going to get access to a bonus segment of the wildly popular Seminole headlines. You're not going to have to wait to get X's and O's with Dominic Robinson and Tom Lang. It's going to drop right into your lap. You won't have to wait like everybody else for several days to get the lowdown on that. A couple other things that escape my mind right now, but only $5 a month. No contract. Try it out, everybody. And then obviously go to warchant.com. Corey Clark, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. How are you doing? You have a good Monday and Tuesday?
Yeah, man. Okay. Other than I went to a grocery store, and I should probably stop the story here because I'm not going to have a lot of people on my side, I don't feel like. Somebody was there with 5 of their children. 5 of their children at a grocery store like Trader Joe's where there's no real estate. Here's my rule. I think if you're, and my girlfriend said I was wrong on this, so I probably am wrong on this.
I feel like I'm going to side with her, but continue. I haven't heard the whole story yet.
If you're old enough to be carrying an infant, like if you're the older brother, older sister, and you're old enough to be carrying the infant around the grocery store for 15 minutes, aren't you old enough just to be at home? Hanging out with the infant for 15 minutes while your parents go grocery shop?
Hey, if you're a 12-year-old, I don't know that I would trust a 12-year-old to hold my 1-year-old or to keep them safe for 30 minutes or 45 minutes. What I think probably happened, Aslan, this is just me.
I don't think it was the parent, by the way, either, because they asked the kids, do you like this? And then the little boy spoke to the woman. Oops, I gave away the gender. In a way that was like, yeah, you don't really know my preferences, so let me break it down for you. Which
I would think maybe it's picking them all up from school and stopping on the way home.
It was 11 a.m.
Okay, that's odd. They weren't in school.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Anyways, it's fine. I'm just being grumpy. I just wish I had 5 kids.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, I'm doing well. And
I think there should be a limit. You're only allowed to have 2.
Well, just Trader Joe's small, man. Small aisles.
Hey, I got you.
Small footprint, but it's fine. I got in and out. Only can get 1 dozen eggs, though. I asked the cashier, I'm like, what would you have done if I would have brought 2 dozen up here? I'm like, would you have told me to put it away? She's like, no, but if you had more than that, probably. I'm just not very confrontational. And I'm like, she's like, but that's just me. And I'm like, okay, good to know. Because that's where I get my eggs at, man.
Yeah. Well, now everybody knows. Now everybody knows where to look for you.
Anywho. All right. We're hanging out here on a Wednesday for you folks. Florida State was supposed to be coming off a baseball game for us to talk about, but it was going to be raining all day apparently in Jacksonville yesterday. So they're like, let's just kick the can to later on this afternoon or this evening, I guess. So they're taking on JU, right? They're not playing UNF. They're playing Jacksonville University.
Correct. Yeah.
So maybe we'll talk about that during tomorrow's show where we break down the Renegade Express mailbag, and we'll be generating discussion by Cummins. But I scrubbed through, didn't get to listen to all of it, but Seminole headlines. So some of this stuff got me thinking about it, Corey Clark. We're forcing the football here. Is the game against Alabama, is this more pivotal, more important of a game for this program, for this coach, than the 2022 LSU game in New Orleans? Because it seemed like you're being very optimistic, very pragmatic, and talking about if Florida State were to drop the opener against Alabama, you're still 2-1. You feel all right about being over on 7.5 wins. Feel like Jeff had some pushback. I feel like Ira was like, yeah, man, I don't know. There's not going to be a lot of good vibes with 2-1 because those 2 wins are going to be over high school teams practically. And you're like, hey, everybody relax. So I don't know. Maybe this Alabama game really does have a lot more juice on it than I think, because it's all about the conference, man. It's about winning your conference games, get to Charlotte, get into the playoff. So the Alabama game is kind of inconsequential, but I guess to Ira's point, you lose that Alabama game, you lose a lot of the fan base probably.
But
in
I
that
guess
locker
my counter to that is, who cares if you lose the fan base? You can win them back. The fan base was gone after the loss to NC State and then Clemson in 2022. And then you won 19 straight games. Like, I can promise you there were many, many people listening to this show in 22 after that loss to Clemson, which made them 4-3, and they were getting blown out in the second half to a not great Clemson team. They made it close at the end. It came down to an onside kick, but still, they were down 20 points in the third quarter at home for their third straight loss. And there were a lot of bad vibes around the program then. They won 19 straight games. Like, bad vibes don't necessarily mean your season is going to spiral. Florida had a lot of vibes middle of last year. Did all right at the end. Like, so and my point being, you lose to Alabama. I think their point was if you lose 37-7. Absolutely. There are going to be people that are done with Norvell. This guy's a joke. He's a fraud. Those 2 years were Jordan Travis creations and portal creations before everybody caught on. He's not a good coach. They need to fire somebody. Yeah, but if he wins 8 of the next 9, people, who cares? Like, it doesn't dictate. It dictates the fan base for a month. It doesn't dictate the course of the season. So that was all I was saying. And I think with that regard, think about the Alabama fan base. And we kind of touched on that a little bit on headlines too. Like, man, if Kalen DeBoer loses to Florida State, a Florida State team that just went 2-10, and that would be would that be his 5th loss? 4th loss?
5th.
Come on, man. Nick Saban would go 2.5 years before he lost 5 games. You've lost 5 games in your first 14?
Lost to a really bad Oklahoma team as well, as Jeff pointed out.
Yeah, so I think that's that is a very, very – it's a big game for both. I honestly think maybe because of the contract deal with Florida State, it's probably in Norvell, it's probably a bigger deal for DeBoer as far as – because fans are already off the bandwagon with Norvell, most of them, rightfully so. He just went 2-10. So what, are you going to lose a few more? Yeah, man. Who cares? The guy, there are people hanging on the DeBoer bandwagon that if he loses to 2-10 Florida State, they're gonna throw the bandwagon into the river. So that it's a big game for both these guys, man. In reality, and I think honestly, Norvell can lose that game and obviously survive. He could thrive. They could have a really good year. DeBoer loses that game and has a 6-6 season. He might legitimately be fired.
Must be nice.
That's on the table.
Must be nice to be able to do that.
Yeah, when you got all that money, you can afford to pay out that buyout.
Second thing that was on my mind, listening to you guys talk about things on headlines was, and again, I was just kind of scrubbing through it so you can fill in the context where needed. But
I meant to say, though, sorry.
No, go. We're forcing the football, everybody. We've got to stretch.
Right, yeah. What I was going to say is that when it comes to that game, if you lose to Alabama by 3 touchdowns, absolutely you're going to feel bad. If you end the month 3-1, the season opener, great.
3-1 and you're 1-0 in ACC play, by the way.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can turn the tide. Yes, people will be upset for a couple of weeks. It'll be bad vibes, but vibes don't win. It won't matter if you have bad vibes or not for those next 2 games. You're not playing a Boston College or a Georgia Tech. You're playing 2 teams that you should beat and will beat by 40 or 50 points. So who cares what the vibes are like? And if you stack a couple of wins, if you get a winning streak for the first time in a year and a half, and then you go into Virginia with a little bit of confidence. Now, no, the Florida State fans probably aren't going to be all that confident that you're going to go roll Virginia. But your team might be a little confident. They might be feeling pretty good because they just scored 11 touchdowns in 2 weeks after scoring like 11 touchdowns an entire season. So they'll be feeling a little better because they're 2-1. They put up probably 40 or 50 points in each of those games. You go to Virginia, you win that. Yeah, man, who knows? That's why I don't think the Alabama one is a deal breaker, even if it's not a season ender, even if you lose and lose badly. And I'm not expecting them to lose badly.
Yeah, I don't think
But
so.
even if they did, it's not a season ender because of the way the schedule's set up. If it was from Alabama, week off, and then at Virginia, and then home, and then at NC State or home against Virginia Tech, I would be real worried. But you get the two gimmies. And I'm just telling, it's like Florida State baseball right now, man. Like, who have they played? But you feel
two
pretty
teams
good
that were
about
in
it.
regional, you know.
No, but I mean they're overmatching them. Georgetown this weekend. Georgetown gave up 21 runs in a game to Sacred Heart a couple weeks ago. And they lost. I think they beat Wagner like 15-14. They lost 2 of 3 to Presbyterian. Like, this is a really bad baseball team that's coming in here this weekend. Who knows? They might win 2 out of 3. Who knows how baseball works? But the point being, it's vibes are vibes. Like, get some confidence. The player's confidence matters a lot more than the fan base's confidence. And having Miles Bailey having a big weekend against Georgetown might propel him to having a decent season. It just takes a couple of things. Confidence is so important and so vital. Getting those 2 wins, I don't think you can overstate how vital that would be moving forward, but especially because it's early in the season. Everything's still out there. You haven't even played an ACC game yet. You're 2-1. You're probably averaging 45 points a game because of the 2 56-point beatdowns you just had. You go out and you have a chance to feel good. Now, you lose to Virginia, who cares?
Yes. Yeah. I don't have the transcript in front of me here, but I feel like at one point you said that, if they were to lose by a large margin, that becomes problematic. But then I feel like you then kind of said that it probably doesn't matter still at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's not ideal if you lose 37-7. I think that was the number they threw out there. That's not great. It's not going to look good. People are going to be off the Norvell train. It does not matter. They've been off the Norvell train multiple times. He gives you a good reason. You lose to Jacksonville State. Then you lose 3 in a row in 2022. You go 2-10. Like there've been a number of reasons to jump off the bandwagon. Losing at home to Alabama, yeah, man, they're going to be an 8 or 9 point underdog. They're supposed to lose.
But won't we see things? I mean, won't we see ghosts? Maybe of 2024.
Absolutely, we will 100%. And I'm not going to be on here painting roses and talking about puppy dogs and rainbows if they lose by 30 points to Alabama.
Which again, we don't think is going to be the case at all.
But even if it does, I'm not going to sit here and say, guys, everything's okay. I'll be upset. I will be worried. I will be skeptical. My point is, it does not matter if I'm skeptical or you're skeptical or the people listening to this are skeptical or if they're all out. If none of them are all in, they've all given up on Norvell. Go win five in a row. They'll be back in. And my point is, those 2 games could spark something. They might not, but they could spark something. They give you a little runway to get your feet under you, feel better about yourself, gain some confidence. It might not give us confidence because it's Kent State and East Texas, whatever, Christian or A&M. It won't. It's not going to give us confidence because what do we care? But it might give a 19-year-old confidence. It might get the 21-year-old receiver a lot of confidence. It might give your defensive line a lot of confidence. And if they can gain some confidence, which is more important than the fan base's confidence, then who knows where they can go. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, looking at that 23 season, I'm sure folks are disappointed in Brian Kelly after getting thumped by Florida State. Then they beat Grambling and Mississippi State and Arkansas. So they're 3-1, but then their next major game was at Ole Miss, and they lost that one too. But hey, the guy ended up winning the Heisman Trophy. They only lost one more time that year, and that was to Alabama.
That Ole Miss one wasn't that like 56-49 or something?
55-4. Look at you.
Yeah, I remember it was a crazy high-scoring game.
Yeah, only beat one ranked team that whole year. Number 21, Missouri. Everybody else was unranked.
And it's funny. I think in the middle of that season, trying to keep it back to kids and their confidence. Look, man, Jaden Daniels was not a good quarterback. He was the second-best quarterback both times he played Jordan Travis in that game. I'm not saying Jordan Travis is better than him now, but in 2022, Jordan Travis was better. Mm-hmm. And in 2023, at the beginning of the season, Jordan Travis was better. But I do feel like there was something in the middle of that first season at LSU, like October of 2022, where he just became a different type of player. And I don't know what it was, what game it was. I just don't know. But he
probably when they back-to-back, they went into the swamp and beat the Gators, and they beat Ole Miss. That was their top 10. Then they beat Alabama, and they were top 10 in overtime.
Yeah, I think he ran in for the winning score against Alabama. Yeah. So I think when you have a moment like that, after being, let's be honest, man, Jane Daniels wasn't great at Arizona State, and he wasn't all that good the first half of the season when he was at LSU.
And they got throttled. They played Tennessee, and they lost 40-13 in Baton Rouge.
Yep.
Then they ripped off.
Right?
Yeah. Then that was October. It was October 8th. But then they ripped off wins in the swamp versus Ole Miss versus Alabama versus Arkansas. So yeah, to your point. Sorry, carry on.
So man, you just can't overstate how much confidence matters. However you get it. I think that's why Florida State schedules in baseball. That's why they schedule the teams they do to open the series. That's why they're not at A&M to open the season, or at Arizona, or have those teams come here.
Yeah, Lonnie.
Lonnie does it, but the baseball team does it. They try to get their feet on the ground, get some confidence, hitting and pitching, and then because they know what's coming. So, but you want to go into the meat of the schedule feeling really good about who you are as a player and who you are as a team. I think that's their philosophy anyway, and it's worked. I mean, you can't really argue other than Omaha. You can't really argue with the results of Florida State baseball the last 5 decades. So I just think that there's something to be said for having no way to quantify what 2 blowout wins can do for a program who at that point now, if they lose to Alabama, they'll have been 2-12 in their last 14 games, and many of them blowouts. To then win 2 in a row, I don't care if it's against Childs High School and Florida High. That's going to give you a little uptick in confidence and maybe propel you. Maybe not. Maybe it's fool's gold. But, fool's gold is better than no gold, Aslan. I think a wise man once said that. Yeah. That's actually not true, right? I think it's about the same. Fool's gold and no gold, you have the same thing in your hand.
Well, at least you got, it can be used as a weapon.
That's true. You can throw it at someone.
Or a paperweight. It's got some value to it.
You can make them choke on it.
Moving along. You won't choke on any of the delicious food at the corner pot. No,
wow. You forced that
We're not doing that.
Okay.
You guys are also talking about quarterback. And again, feel free to add the context where needed. But talking about, it'd be interesting if you could have a beer with Dabo and talk to Dabo about DJ and where he was in 20 and then 21, to what he kept feeling. What was he telling himself? What was he trying to push with DJ? At what point was he all right, man, this is not going to work? At what point did you have real major concern? And then at what point did you just kind of totally throw in the towel? I think it was after they lost to South Carolina, obviously. That was that time. But,
yeah,
we came into this, I don't want to say clear-eyed, but, man, we were clear-eyed on this. We realized he won 8 games at Corvallis. He's high 50s completion percentage. I think the only thing that we really got wrong with him is that we thought that his stature was going to bring some element of a power run game at times. But listen, nobody could run it behind that offensive line.
Also, it does need to be clarified. He was banged up. He hurt himself sometime in August. I think that would have, because he ran. I remember looking up. It was something like 34. He ran for 34 first downs the year before at Oregon State. 34. That's about as many as Florida State had all year. That's a lot of first downs for a quarterback to be running for. Now, he didn't put up huge numbers rushing. It was 350. But one year at Clemson, he ran for over 500. So that was a part of his game. He's not Jordan Travis, fast or elusive, but he was a good enough runner that he could beat you with his legs, and he did nothing. I don't think he could move. So anyway, sorry, I just wanted to clarify that. I think that element was taken away when he, I don't know, hurt his knee, hurt his ankle, did something in the preseason.
Yeah. So he's not going to bring you the best accuracy as a quarterback. He was compromised physically. He had a knee brace on his knee. Some people were like, what the hell's going on? I was like, it's not that big of a deal, but clearly it was a big deal.
Remember him in the Georgia Tech game where he did run a couple of times and you're like, good night. That's Ira moves faster than that. That was really alarming, honestly. I think he even ran for a first down or he had some sort of scramble that got some positive yards. And I was like, holy cow, man, that didn't look athletic at all. That was completely and that was worrisome.
Yeah. So you're thinking about, all right, accuracy, physical readiness, and then I guess leadership. And he's never been a guy, and I think that's why I would want to like kind of talk to Dabo, because feel like you got Deshaun Watson, you got Trevor Lawrence, you got what was the kid's name, Kelly whatever, that took them to the semifinal, Kelly Bryant.
Bryant, yep.
And then Cade, and he loves Cade Klubnik. And I just don't think DJ was ever, not that Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence were fire breathers, but obviously they had some aura to them because they were really wildly successful. When you look at Tommy Castellanos, you're probably not getting a very accurate quarterback. We think physically he's going to be in better health than DJ, more mobile. But then is it the third part of that? If we're going to compare these guys, is it the leadership aspect? I know, and I'm probably a little bit more with Jeff in terms of it's nice, but I don't know how much stock I'm going to put into it. But you seem to, what's kind of keeping you afloat right now in this doldrum part of this calendar is hearing the way that these guys on the offensive side of the ball have been talking about Tommy, because that's been a big missing component since Jordan left, between Jordan and Jameis, obviously. Like having like a leader, not necessarily either fire breather or just absolute, fire thrower, one or the other. And maybe Tommy has that, and that's going to be enough to keep this thing moving along in a good direction. I
mean, I just think it's a performance enhancer. It's not, look, man, I could take all the steroids in the world. I'm not going to hit home runs in Major League Baseball. It doesn't matter. And so if he can't complete passes and do the things a quarterback's supposed to do, it won't matter that he's rah-rah and everybody rallies behind him. They don't want to rally around crap. So if he can play at a pretty high level, or a decently high level. Again, we're not expecting, like, all ACC honorable mention level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like something like that to go along with that personality. I just think that helps. I think it's an enhancer. It can turn, I don't even know how to quantify it. It can turn a 7-win team into an 8-win team. It can be the difference in 1 win. 2 wins maybe. It's not the difference between 2 wins and 7 wins or 8 wins. It's just this guy, he's a cool guy. He hangs out with us on Thursday nights. We all go bowling. Yeah, man, block someone. Like that, it won't matter that much. I just think it's an enhancer. It's like Jameis was already great. Just that personality pushes it over a little bit more. I'm not comparing him to Jameis in talent level or ability. I'm just saying maybe his personality and those guys fight for him. They feel close to him. He brings them all together. It's not just like, I'm going to do it for Tommy. Right. Let's go do this for Tommy. I don't think it's like that. It's just like that kind of personality that seems to get to. He's got. It seems like he's like the centerpiece of a bunch of guys, like, I don't even know how to say. When you're in a group of friends, there's one guy that's kind of like the catalyst,
the alpha, the wick.
But he gets, instead of 4 of y'all going out for dinner, there's 25 of you, and you just you grow a little closer. And I don't know how to quantify that as into W's, but I'd rather have it than not have it. Mm-hmm. I'd rather my quarterback have that than not have it. I'd also rather my quarterback complete 70% of his passes and throw for 3,500 yards and 30 touchdowns and 3 picks. All that granted. I'm just saying I like him to have it. That's more ideal than not having it. And I just think the way they all talk about him, like reaching out on his own to go hang out with guys, you can tell it matters to him. He wants to be good. It's like he's got something to prove. He doesn't know these guys from Adam. That's the reality of college football in 2025. You're playing with a bunch of dudes you don't know anymore. But it's nice to have a guy that you can count on as a leader. And I think that guy is a natural leader. Just judging from the way the people inside the program talk about him. He's got that personality where he's calling people up, going to hang out, going to throw, going to work out, being the center, a vocal leader. Yeah, it's all there, that part of it. Now, if he sucks at quarterback, it doesn't matter. But if he's decent at quarterback, if he's the guy he's been the last 2 years, to go along with that leadership and hopefully the talent upgrade and uptick he has around him, that could be a nice story, is all I'm saying.
You don't need to see any growth out of him. You just need to see him find something between what he was in 23 and what he was last year.
I need him to be what he is. I don't know what was going on last year. Ira brought it up. When we talked about Castellanos last year.
By the way, 8 games last year, he ran for 15 first downs. DJ ran for 8 and 5.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Why would you have a quarterback like? Why did they even play him? Like, why would you have a quarterback like Tommy Castellanos and not let him run, not want him to run? That's his strength, and that is what he is going to do at Florida State. I mean, I'm not expecting him to run for 1,000 yards.
Yeah, six of the 15 were against us, by the way.
Yeah, isn't that something? Isn't that crazy? So the next 7 games he ran for, what'd you say, 9 first downs?
Yeah.
That's insanity. He ran for 1,100 yards the year before. It just doesn't compute. It doesn't make sense. But no, if he's just who he is, if he's a guy that can make, I don't expect him to be. I just want him to be the guy that Florida State played last year.
23.
I don't need the Superman from 2023.
Oh, okay, all right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the guy last year. He ran for 60-something yards. He had a couple of big,
Yeah,
he had a couple of big runs on 4th down. Didn't put the ball in harm's way. Managed the game. That's who you need. If you can get that Tommy Castellanos to go along with the upgrade everywhere else, that should be enough to have a successful, or at least a somewhat successful season.
Skill position potential upgrade. They had pretty good offensive line, Boston College.
Yeah, but you're hoping the skill position, especially out wide. I don't think they weren't blessed with great receivers. Yeah. Maybe the Bond kid. I think they had a Bond kid that was there. Correct, yeah. Was pretty good. But other than that, they weren't great at wide receiver. And I just think his element running the ball, it's when you're the smallest guy on your team leads you in rushing, which is what could very well happen at Florida State this year. I just think that tells you something about him. When your quarterback is that tough, I think that you can build around that. Then again, he's also the same kid that got benched and then left the team. So I don't know where the truth lies with Tommy Castellanos. I'm just telling you, for the first 2 months he's been here, I really like how they talk about him, and I like the way he's carried himself. Let's hope it carries over till when it actually matters.
Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Daily lunch specials, you know that, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Weekday happy hour, 4 to 7 p.m. And then all day on Sunday. Thursday, you know what's going down. Bingo. Come on out. Have a good time. And then this weekend, obviously, Firewall Band from 8 p.m. to 11 on Friday. Shout out again to Stephanie Clark for dropping that information on us. I got the whole lineup from like now until like June, Corey. So
I saw Bill at Corner Pocket on Monday after the loss to North Carolina, and he said if you look closely at that, some of those are happy hour bands, like 6 to 9.
Ooh.
But a couple of them are 8 to 11. So we gotta make sure we get the times right on a couple of those.
All right, yeah. So this week, Friday, Firewall Band, 8 to 11 o'clock.
11, yep.
Get the band, everybody. Get your band together and go watch that band. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Go ahead, Corey.
Go watch the Noles first. I think Florida State, the softball team's playing this weekend too. So go watch the softball and baseball teams on Friday. Then about 8 o'clock, 8:30. They're still in their first set. Get over there. They're probably going to be playing, I'm going to guess, Journey or maybe Gin Blossoms.
Ooh.
Something like that. You know what I mean? The Three Doors Down. Some heavy hitters.
Okay.
And then you just sit there for a couple hours, enjoying the big wins, enjoying the music, and then getting ready for the big basketball game on Saturday night against Duke.
Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. We're back. Wake Up Warchant. Presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it and take it. Sip the juice. Ricky Gibson III. No idea what he looks like. He's a 6 foot, 185-pound cornerback from Tennessee, Corey. He started in every single game for the Volunteers, cornerback.
Okay.
Graded out at 74.4. On Tuesday, he was like, I'm out. Enter the transfer portal.
Okay. Maybe Squirrel White told him some things.
The rub here, and by the time you guys listen to this, he might have already gone ahead and committed somewhere. The SEC still has their weird transfer rule, where if you enter the spring window, you can't transfer interconference, at least and be instantly eligible. You'd have to sit out a year. Now, this guy's going into year 3 of playing his college football career and grade out 74. Again, started every single game for a playoff team. I mean, graded out pretty well against everybody other than Alabama, but they still end up winning that game. You kick the tires on, I mean, again, who knows? I think this roster is kind of set. Cornerback, to me, we have just kind of given this, I think it'll be all right. Next question. Where's all the confidence coming from in terms of like what the secondary is going to be? I mean, not that we're going to tell Mike Norvell how to do his job, but I'd be a little bit interested to see if this guy wants to come play some football this year.
Man, you need all the good players you can get. So, yeah, and you need all the competition you can get. So if he was interested, you're not going to say no because you got Ricky Knight and Charles Lester. You're going to be like, yeah, come on. As long as you're not going to break the bank, so if a defensive lineman becomes available, you're out. You're out of money. I still think defensive line is my number one priority.
Got to hold our powder on that, you think?
Do what?
We got to hold our powder?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I just look, man, if he's – yes, I'm not saying you hold your powder. I'm just saying that – You've got a tier. You've got tiers that I think are the priorities. I wouldn't put corner as the number one because you like. Look, man, I think they had pretty good corners this year, right? All said, Fintrell Cypress, Azaria Thomas might be a first-round pick. Fintrell Cypress was a fine college cornerback. Mm-hmm. They went 2-10. So clearly, it's not that pivotal a position. You got to have a good defensive line. You've got to be good at the line of scrimmage. I think they're good enough at corner to get, if they can get pressure on the quarterback, to get by. You don't need superstars at cornerback. Colorado had the best cornerback in the country, and they lost 4 or 5 games. It's not that pivotal a position. But, yeah, man, but that said, yeah, go get – I just want competition in practice. I want you to have to be really good to be a starter, to hold off the guy next to you. I think Quindarius Jones has an inside track right now to be one corner, but he hasn't earned that, right? I mean, he's had some nice moments. I like him. He's very, very fast, but he hasn't done anything in a game that you're like, yeah, that's automatic. Nobody has in that secondary. They just have a lot of bodies that we think are pretty talented. I really like Ricky Knight from what I saw in practice. Charles Lester could be a player. I feel like Edwin Joseph.
Yeah,
they got Shaheem Brown's a 7th-year senior. They got guys back there that have played. Earl Little. They've got numbers. But yeah, to answer your question, 4 minutes later, you don't push him away. If he's interested, you any good people that want to come play at Florida State, you are absolutely picking up the phone.
I think what you said off the jump is probably the
I should have stopped talking.
No,
I agree with you. That's my problem. I say something that's kind of insightful, and I just spiral into madness where it doesn't even matter what I said to start. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
No, just listen. They need all the help they can get, but to your point, cornerback doesn't change your war. Like they don't go from 2-10 to a bowl team if they had better cornerbacks. So
yeah, if Travis Hunter was on the team with Azaria Thomas, those are your two corners.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I don't know, 4 and 8, maybe. Yeah. Big deal. Two first-round cornerbacks.
Yeah, but I do wonder. I do feel like we are taking a little bit of a leap of faith, though, when we talk about guys like Charles Lester and Ricky Knight. Although, hey, why not us? Why can't we have guys that come out of nowhere and end up playing really well, or at least up to their recruiting status? So we'll keep our fingers crossed on that. Guys are probably yelling at us too. KJ Kirkland, realize that guy. Ashland Barker's probably going to be in the mix. Kai Bates, Conrad Hussey, Jabril Rawls.
Right?
Yeah. So
they got a lot of guys.
I just don't know how. Yeah.
But that goes back to especially at corner. There is so much competition that I feel like there are some talented guys there. There might be some guys that aren't ready to play or aren't going to play at this level, but I think most of them can play at this level. I don't know to what degree, to what level of success, but they can all play at this level. That competition, man, you don't just get to walk on the practice field and know you're a starter. You've got to go earn it. That just makes – I'm not going to say it, but it has something to do with iron. That just makes everybody that makes the whole team better when you have to actually go work and earn your spot on the team. And I do think there's enough competition in that the secondary that to get on the field at Florida State, you're going to at least have to be pretty good. And if you get on the field and then aren't any good and keep getting beat – you won't be on the field very long because they got other options. So that's, at least you're there now.
Ari Wasserman on 3 Network, way too early 2025 All-American team.
Oh.
7 guys on the team, offense, defense. He's only got one, first team, offense, defense. So 22 guys in total. 7 of the 22 are on rosters that Florida State's going to play this upcoming season. Gators got 2, their quarterback, their center. Clemson's got 2. Defensive lineman Peter Woods, linebacker Sammy Brown. Bama's got defensive lineman LT Overton, as well as wide receiver Ryan Williams, who I don't think will be 17 years old by the time Florida State plays him. And then Miami's got Francis Maui-Noa, their offensive tackle that's highly ranked and recruited. Florida State doesn't have anybody on this list.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Just
lay it in the cut. They're laying in the cut, laying in the weeds. Keep doubting them. Don't be a fan later, guys.
Do you think, over under 18 and a half months to where we start talking about these sort of lists and we see a Florida State guy on it? And interestingly enough, these guys are all, to best of my knowledge, these are all organically recruited, acquired players. At least when we're talking about Lagway and Jake Slaughter for the Gators, Sammy Brown and Peter Woods for Clemson, LT Overton and Ryan Williams for Alabama, and then Francis Maui-Noa for Miami. Although he might have committed to Oregon and followed Mario. So
probably not the whole team. Not all 22 are homegrown.
Well, but Jeremiah Smith's on here. Jeremiah Love, Nick Singleton, Dylan Stewart at South Carolina, Colin Simmons. Those guys are only true sophomores.
Dylan Stewart? Which one is he?
He's South Carolina.
What is he?
He's an edge.
Oh yeah.
Him and Kennard.
He was the freshman.
Yeah.
Holy cow! Yeah. There's good players coming back.
Caleb Downs is the only guy I can see here off the rip that I know for sure is a transfer.
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't say that anybody on this team right now, because to think about a 2026 preseason All-American team, it's somebody that's pretty young right now that's on this team. I don't know who fits that bill at Florida State right now. I'm not saying it can't happen. Maybe it's Lucas Simmons, for all we know, buddy. Yeah. No idea. Maybe it's Tommy Castellanos. Maybe he's in New York this year for the Heisman ceremony and then comes back next year. I feel like the best option is like a Landon Thomas or a like Deuce Robinson coming back for another year, like having a breakout year and then coming back. Not that I would count on that, but I'm just saying that's your best option. I don't know.
Will we ever have?
It feels like they're recruiting better, though, right? Like if you look at their commitments right now, aren't 8 of them? I think they have 8 commitments, and 7 of them are at least nationally ranked. Which I know they're not all in the top 20, but they're at least nationally ranked, where you feel like okay, maybe they're starting to uptick where they can have, the number 9 recruiting class in the country, and some of them might turn into All-Americans.
Looks like they've got 7. 6 of the 7 are all within the top 300.
There you go. That's a step. Yeah. It's not exactly what you're wanting. You'd like them all to be in the top 100, but it's something.
Yeah. At some point, will there ever be the answer though, Corey? Or have we already had the answer in terms of high school transfer mix? Or will this just continue every year? We're just going to be able to play the hits on a slow day in February or May. And
I think it's gonna be like the NFL. Like you need to draft well. That helps. You got to draft well, but there's always going to be free agency, and you're always going to handpick and get 3 or 4 really important pieces. Every NFL team does that, and I just think that's how college football will always be. Now, your recruiting classes matter, developing matters, but then you're also going to always have holes, and you can go fill them. Some teams can fill them better than others, but I think that's always going to be the reality. I don't think every year your whole starting 22 needs to be transfers. But that maybe you can do that. I think you get hometown discounts maybe when you recruit well, that they'll stay with you, as opposed to maybe having to go spend a little extra to get a guy to leave a place. I think if you recruit better, you save some money because they want to. It's what they know. It's with their friends. It's at their school. It's what they're used to. So they'll give you a hometown discount to stay, like Chipper Jones did with the Braves. That's maybe your best bet. I don't know. I'm tired. I can't predict anymore, Aslan. Who knows, man? If you'd have taught, we did this show in 2018 and 2019. I had no idea this was coming. Who could have? So it's hard to predict.
But looking at these names, though, and again, I'm not the most plugged-in guy any longer. This is not me. I'm not bragging about this. I'm not proud about this. I probably should do a better job of it. But just not being totally familiar with the intricacies of all these guys and their recruitings and their rankings and everything. But, like Lagway and Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams and Maui-Noa, and Colin Simmons at Texas, Peter Woods, Overton, obviously Caleb Downs. These guys are the elite of the elite. And it was known, off the jump. And it just feels like you have to have a couple of those pieces. And I know, listen, 2 is not a couple. Two's a couple. 3's a few. You don't need to have a few. You should have but you need to have a couple. It feels like these kind of special pieces. And it feels like with the way everything is going, the way that the portal is kind of evolving, I don't know if you'll be able to get those kind of guys in the portal. So you need to be able to recruit these guys. I just hope to see Florida State involved more with these guys that are top 100 prospects that are going to be on these sort of lists. And I know that's what everybody obviously clearly wants. I just wonder if there'll be a time where the worm turns here for Mike Norvell and Florida State. But hey, beat Alabama, and then maybe everything will start kind of pouring
That's right.
here.
That's right, buddy.
It's the dawn of a new year. Let us manifest abundance. Or let us live on Earth and take a more measured approach. Do you know that 85% of us have at least one subscription going unused each month? Yeah, I'm included. Imagine paying $50 at the pump and getting no gas. Imagine dropping $20 on lunch and getting no food. Yeah, let's get our affairs in order with Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel our unwanted subscriptions, plus it monitors our spending. This can help lower expenses and lets us grow our savings. Let's max out those 401ks and IRAs. Rocket Money's dashboard gives you a clear view of your expenses across all your accounts, allowing you to see all your subscriptions in one place and let you know exactly where your money's going. And for the subscriptions you don't want anymore, Rocket Money can even help you cancel them. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/game-on. That's rocketmoney.com/game-on. rocketmoney.com/game-on. Visit today. All right, we're back. Last segment, Wake Up Warchant. Not last one of the week, though. We'll be doing a Renegade Express mailbag tomorrow. Get involved, everybody. Go to the Tribal Council, look for the thread, post a question. Make it compelling. Make it intriguing. We'll showcase you. You will be featured in a video. You will then be entered into a monthly drawing to win some free Cummins gear, shirts, hats, things of that nature, but then also entered into the end-of-year grand prize drawing for either a Cummins portable generator or portable power station. So while your question will win you the notoriety of being featured on the video, you won't necessarily win the gift bag or the generator, but you'll have the opportunity for it. Just want to clarify that for everybody. No. Basketball, what is this like new MO of theirs, Corey, where they fall behind, but then they kind of claw their way back, and you're like, oh, look at them, not dead yet.
No.
But then they just, in a game of runs with the way college basketball is, you kind of just run out of gas, it seems like, and then they fade late off into it. So North Carolina took down Florida State on Monday night. Big Monday.
Yeah, that's right.
Any other takeaways, or you just want to get this thing over with?
I think no, because what's there? I mean, the coaching staff is leaving, so there's not like you can really project or say you like this guy. You don't know who's going to be here next year. We got asked a question about Florida State returning guys off this team from next year, who you'd want to return. I think Malik Ewan is like the obvious answer, but I'm not 100% sold on that yet. It depends on who comes in as the coach. I think he is unbelievably gifted offensively. He is the most gifted big man offensively that Florida State's maybe had since Cowan's. Like, it's just incredible what he can do. He is an incredible passer. He's really good around the basket. And he is very, very quick and agile for his size. He is a unique dude. Not good defensively yet. And I don't know what kind of locker room presence he is. I know he's had some, he's Ole Miss and left, and obviously was at a JUCO. I don't know. I don't know, and I don't know him. So it's fair or unfair. I don't care. I don't know that you can build around him as the centerpiece. But man, I like him as a piece. But I tell you what, Taylor Bobo and him, Daquan Davis, that's a trio that if you can get them to come back, and man, I have no idea. Malik Ewan might be at Oklahoma State. He might be at UNLV. Who knows where he would be next year? He's put enough on film that I think he would be a hot commodity. And hopefully the coach that comes in can keep him if he wants him. But I can never – is Ayer Malik Maluk, number 21, the freshman. I was so impressed with him on Monday night. He was the only one I was impressed with, honestly, all game, because they don't play defense, Aslan. I mean, they give up 89 on Saturday, and they come back and give up 96 on their home floor to a not great North Carolina team. And get out rebounded, get pushed around, just soft, don't play defense. But it's like I don't even want to criticize or complain because it's all over in 3 or 4 games. The question is, the number one question is who's going to be the coach. And the number 2 question is who's going to stay. I hope he stays because there's a lot to work with that kid. He could be a defensive force. He was just very, very impressive. That's probably the most extensive time he's gotten in a game like that. And I thought he was very impressive kind of on both ends of the court, but especially on defense. He's just not a good rebounder yet because he ain't strong enough. He should still be in high school. He's a high school senior that reclassified. But what's the core going to be? That's like who is impressed enough if there's an audition, if like let's just for argument's sake, Sam Cassell is watching all these games. Who has been impressive enough that Sam Cassell is going to look at them and go, yeah, you're staying. I want you. You got to be a part of this. Who? Yeah, Watkins is gone because he's out of eligibility. Ewan, I guess, although defensively he's a bit of a liability and he can't stay on the floor. And well, now he's hurt, so he's probably out for the rest of the season anyway. Taylor Bowen has got a lot of positive attributes, but he has been a ghost the last 4 games. He just completely disappears offensively and has played too many minutes and too many games to just completely be a non-factor. Like he's kind of been 4 games in a row now, but he's got a lot of stuff to him. Daquan Davis I like. Daquan Davis is somebody I'd keep. And then the 21, Aluk, who I'm not going to even try it. Those 2 guys for sure. I think that's it. Like, who else on that team are you like, got to stay, got to keep him at all costs?
No, it's pretty comprehensive. Yeah,
so those are these last 3 games. If the one Saturday night is going to be ugly, I can't even imagine what the point spread would have to be for me to take Florida State at Cameron. Plus 30? Like, legitimately.
I was going to say 19.5, but you
went no way I'm taking Florida State plus 19.5. Like, Duke's number 1 in the country in offensive and defensive efficiency. That's by far the best team in the country. Florida State's given up 90 to everyone. So I would assume Duke's going to score about 100, and I wouldn't imagine, especially if Malik Ewan's not playing, I wouldn't expect them to be able to score a lot. So I think plus 30 is what I would have to take to even think about taking Florida State. So they're losing that game. Then they have Virginia on Tuesday, and then they come home and finish up with SMU. So the Virginia and the SMU games maybe prove something to me, that you belong here next year. Because it's college basketball. They all leave every offseason. So it is that core group, if there is one, will be really interesting to see. Chandler Jackson, I forgot about him. Okay, nice enough role player. I don't know that he's a guy that would be starting 30 minutes on a really good team, or playing 30 minutes, I should say. But other than that, I don't. It's going to be a brand new roster again with a brand new coaching staff.
Can't wait.
And I would love, I should say this, if you could get somebody to have Malik Ewan become a force, if you could hire someone that can just coach him in a way that gets the best out of him, the top out of him, and maybe it is a Sam Cassell that's been around those personalities in the NBA for the last 20 years and was an NBA player himself and a darn good one. If he could connect with that kid and get him to play all out on both ends of the court and become a dominant player that will not pick up silly fouls and will stay on the floor, he is an All-American candidate. Mm-hmm. He's ridiculously good. So maybe that's what it would take. Maybe that's how you keep Malik Ewan and he becomes a dominant force already somewhere else. He might be playing pro ball. He might be cashing a check at another school. I don't know how that's going to work out, but he is supremely gifted. And that will be, I guess, what people care the most about after the coach is, are you going to keep Malik Ewan?
Leonard playing chess 4D variety. Florida State currently the 11th seed, so if it ended today, they would play NC State in their first game, and they would just have to win 5 more after that.
Yeah,
to win the conference and then get into the dance, and then don't let the Noles get hot.
If they win 5 games to win the ACC, buddy, they're on the way to the Final Four. They're on the way. They're not losing. We'll see. So Malik Ewan left He got hurt. I think he hurt his ankle with 2 minutes into the second half. He tried to come back. He went down. He went up and down one time and then stopped playing. He couldn't go. So you wouldn't think he's ready for Saturday. Maybe he can be ready for Saturday if it's a sprained ankle or a twisted ankle.
Same for Charlotte, man. Same for Charlotte.
Well, I want Leonard to win his last game against SMU. I hope Andy Enfield plays along and lets it happen.
Yeah,
although they need a win. They also need a road win to get in the tournament. That would be a big win for them, or a bad loss, actually. They're going to desperately need that win, so that's not great. But I would like Leonard to get that win to close it out. But, yeah, I mean, if Ewan's back and can play, they are not winning 5 straight games. They're just not good enough defensively. They just don't try hard enough on defense, which is a sad state considering how Leonard built this program. But it is what it is. Maybe they can get hot and give them a nice couple of wins.
Worst teams have gone through their conference tournaments and
I don't know if that's true. Maybe.
Hey, hate to put this pressure on you with the clock winding down over here. Is there a quick 2-minute response you can give me for what is the picking if you're going to hire Luke Laux over Sam Cassell? It feels like they're they bring a lot of the same kind of background, if you will.
Yeah.
If you're going to go, it just feels like Cassell over Laux. What would be the argument for picking Laux over Cassell?
I think
if it was those two guys, and CY can be elsewhere right now.
I think Sam Cassell played his last college basketball game was 1993. He's been in the NBA. He's lived the NBA life for 30 years. He's kind of an NBA lifer. College basketball is a completely different sport. Not X's and O's. Sam Cassell would be fine, but he's never had to recruit anyone. He doesn't even remember what his recruitment was probably, and that was 32 years ago.
Yeah, but isn't Sam Cassell the uncle almost you want to play?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying, my worries with him would be, being able. I don't even know if recruiting is the right thing.
Well, is there anything that concerns you about is there anything that concerns you about Sam Cassell that does not apply to Luke Laux? Because Luke is closer to the game because he's younger.
And I think Luke's younger. He played college basketball 12 years ago as opposed to 31 years ago. I think he maybe could relate more to a 19 or 20-year-old coaching them than Sam's in his 50s. So maybe that's not quite as relatable, but that's me. It's doing your thought practice. That's not how I really feel. I would not, if it came down to those two, unless money, because I wouldn't imagine Luke Laux would be asking for the same amount of money that Sam Cassell would be. Because Sam Cassell's interviewed for head coaching jobs. He's not. If the Celtics coach got booted today
Joe
because
Mazzulla.
because the last guy got booted for improper relationships within the staff or something. Yeah. The guy that's with the Rockets now.
Ime Udoka.
Yeah, Mazzulla took over for him. Now, if that was to happen to Mazzulla, Sam Cassell would be the head coach of the Celtics. So I would imagine his salary asks would be more than Luke Laux. So if you're looking to save money, and not save money and be cheap, but save money and give to the players that you're trying to bring on, then maybe that's why you would do it. But no, I think Sam Cassell's name rings out, obviously more than Luke Laux's. Luke's closer to the program. He's come to more games. He was coached by Leonard. Those are things in his corner. I do not know his coaching acumen. Not that I really know Cassell's, other than people really like him because he's had a job for 20 years. And Luke Laux is an assistant on NBA team too, and he was with the Warriors, so he knows some stuff as well. I don't know. I think the reasoning would be a little younger, or a lot younger actually, and less expensive. Right. And he's from Florida. I don't know. Maybe that matters.
Clearwater, stand up.
Yeah, maybe it's he's from Florida. He has more connections. I don't think that's true, and I don't even know that it matters anymore. That's why like I was talking about last time, CY's biggest benefit, his biggest check mark, is the way he can recruit and develop relationships. I don't know if that matters anymore. So that kind of sucks for CY, but also I love the way Missouri plays, and if he can bring that style, and the players love him. Like CY is a player's coach. The Terrence Mann and guys like that, Cabangeli, they love him. They stand behind him. He is their guy. He connects. and he's been a head coach before. It didn't go well, but he's been a head coach before. I could see why that would be appealing too. But I don't know. I don't know, man. That was a lot. That was more than 2 minutes.
No, I mean, it's fine. That gave me some, because to me, it's just kind of, I don't want to say crazy, but I find it very curious when we start talking about candidates, and then I don't know, people have like a preference system or whatever, but like I'm not saying I'm anti-Luke, but I feel like I would probably go CY Cassell. Because those three guys, both those guys to me are ahead of Luke. But I don't think you can go wrong with either. If they hire either of those three guys, I'm excited.
Well, got to get them some resources to get players. But yeah, and that's what I said on headlines. And I love Leonard. Truly, that guy is. I've enjoyed the last 15 years, 18 years, whatever it's been covering him and his program. Really have. But I'm ready for something new. Just ready to watch something new. I'm ready to watch a new system. I'm ready to have a team that can shoot. That prioritizes getting guys that can shoot, and then doesn't switch 1 through 5 where you get can play multiple defenses. I'm just ready for that. I'm ready for it. Might be. I'm not. Doesn't mean different is better. Not that it could be much worse than the last 3 or 4 years we've had here, but I'm just ready for something different. And I think all three of those guys are different. So I would say those three. Laux is the one with by far the least resume. Doesn't mean he can't be a good head coach. I would personally like him if I was running Florida State University's athletic department. I would like him to have been a college coach, even if it's an assistant, a college assistant coach, just to know how it all works, or a head coach somewhere. But none of these guys really have. I mean, CY was a head coach at Georgia Southern for a minute, but none of them have real head coaching experience, and they might not be hired. They might go get a guy that's coached, that is a current college head coach.
Yeah, I'm projecting. I think out of those three guys, though, I do think, although I said Laux at the bottom of my preferences, I do think Luke probably is the most likely to turn this thing on its head. I think he would try to bring in I don't know. I'm sure NBA analytics have really kind of affected the way he looks at the game. I'm sure he would go after those gunners and those shooters and be like, this is how we're going to play basketball here, because this is the way we have to win, because we cannot win the other way.
Yeah. Perhaps, yeah.
All right. If you got thoughts on that or anything else, go to warchant.com, get involved in the conversation or on the Tribal Council, especially the Renegade Express thread. We'll do a whole show, nothing but your folks' questions, talking about it, chopping it up and such. We look forward to talking to you then. Go ahead and listen to the Jeff Cameron Show 1 to 4 o'clock, and we'll hang out with you afterwards. He's Corey Mazon. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com.